yoga has many different meanings to different people. Yoga, as you know, originated a long time ago, but the first document was written by Patanjali more than 2000 years ago and defined yoga as Chitta Vritti Nirodh, controlling the thoughts in the mind. What does that mean? Well, goal of yoga is inner peace, and yoga means union of self with divine. Yoga serves as goal, and the process is called Ashtang Yoga, means 8 limbs that comprises the yogic process. Since then, yoga has evolved and means quite a few different things to different people. For some, it's relaxation. For others, it is a breathing exercise to calm us down. And for some, it's meditation. We will explore in depth today what the Ashtanga Yoga, that is Yam, Niyam, Asana, Pranayam, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana, and Samadhi means, and listen to those who practice them. I learned uh, this form of yoga and have practiced it most of my life. I do asana, pranayama, and dhyana or meditation for about an hour each morning, and it has transformed my life. I realized that yoga is a journey. I discovered my purpose and aligned with it. And after living in US for 20 years, returned to India to work to improve productivity and quality. Now my sole purpose is to discover healer within me and help others discover the same. My small I is slowly beginning to merge with the big I or the we, the unified presence. So in this session, I experience oneness with all. And we will deepen our experience of present moment with Sachin Deshmukh, who is a yoga master and much more actually. He has practiced as a medical doctor, but his passion and his drive, and he's the 11th uh, uh, in the tradition of long yoga masters. He's the 11th in that tradition. And Sachin, those of you have experienced his breathing exercises and his meditation yoga practices, you know he's a very peaceful and a calm person. His presence, his energy is very calming. So I'm not gonna talk anymore, but here is Dr. Sachin Deshmukh, who will help us come back to the present moment and experience this connectedness. Sachin?
Yes, thank you, Dinesh, and welcome to you all. So I know people are joining from different places, but here in California, it's a morning, and we usually start with the intent for any yoga practice, and we're using this word consistently for our wellness programs, and those are positive and calm. And obviously, the deeper connection we have with the meaning of the anything we hold within, we become one. So usually that the human bodies, they are meant for movement, and the human mind is built for stillness and bliss. Now in these times what is happening is our bodies are becoming more still because we are confined in the homes, and our mind is spinning with 1,000 miles per hour. And that's why these type of moments are very crucial to just create the mind body balance and also coherence. So we will just do a simple breathing practice, and that practice is not any modification but just being aware of or being conscious of what's happening within us and transform our energy to the positive and calm. So let's sit in the chair how you are and make the body comfortable. We bring the chin parallel to the ground and hold both the palms facing to the sky, right at the junction of the upper and the lower half of our body. Though you're sitting in the chair or on the ground, connect with the ground all the way and also connect with the sky above. So as you breathe in through the body all the way, you think the air and the space, they become one element. So air moves and the space holds. Earth supports and water purifies, and fire is the light or the energizer. So when we are conscious, we see all these five elements alive, working within us. Our body is also 80% of water. The earth is 80% of water. And a lot of ideas can come to our mind on how to collaborate. So we forget small, simple details, which we all know. But once we tune in, it transforms us into a different dimension. So let's internalize the word and the practice. So we take two words, so the positive and calm. And then as you breathe in, you pause. And then as you breathe out, and then you pause. So that's all we are going to do. We also focus on where is the breath. So is it into the chest or the belly? And if we notice it's in our chest, we want to bring it down all the way to the belly. So as we breathe in, we push the belly out. And then as we breathe out, we suck the stomach in, and then pushing the diaphragm upward, and then rest before we start with the new breath. So what makes the difference in normal breathing versus the yogic breath is this pause. So when we breathe in and then we pause, and then when we breathe out and then we pause, we stimulate the autonomic nervous system with the parasympathetic response. That is essentially the deep relaxation. So our bodies are resting, our mind is at rest, but same time our awareness is blossomed to the full potential. And then the breath flows like a river within us, and the mind follows it automatically. So it has to be effortless. So yoga has very deep emphasis on effortlessness of anything. So if we have to put effort, then it's not right, because we are not fully rested. So we call it the state of restful alertness. So we'll take the affirmation. So as we breathe in, we think, I am positive. And as you breathe out, so think, I am calm. So the words are simple, but when they mean something to us, they become very powerful. And the repetition is also another tool which makes it energize. So you breathe in, think, I am positive. As you breathe out, so think, I am calm. So as you breathe in, think, I am positive. And then as you breathe out, so think, I am calm. So now we have a few ideas to work with. So one is simple. As you breathe in, you just pause the breath. As you breathe out, you pause the breath. Or you breathe in, you push the belly out. And then as you breathe out, you suck the belly in, pushing the diaphragm upward. And then pause before we start with the new breath. Or we take the affirmation. As you breathe in, so you think, I am positive. And then as you breathe out, I am calm. I am positive and I am calm. I am positive and I am calm. So we'll take the whole affirmation to embody. So in the moments of turbulence, I remain calm. I am positive. I am calm. I am strong. So you can use any of these ideas, the visualization or just the pause into the breath or the affirmation. We'll spend a minute or two in silence. More we flow with the simple idea, more our mind becomes still, and then our body follows, so mind over the matter. Keep your eyes closed, body still. And feel the deep silence and stillness within. Any other things, so if any emotions come up, the fear, anger, irritation, restlessness, gently just glide it away with the positive and calm. Any other things you notice within. And then once you feel ready, so gently just breathe in and then slowly start bringing the awareness back in your body. So on your toes, on your heels, knees, and then the hips, then the palms, and then the wrists, and then the elbows, and then the shoulders, then the lower back, and then the middle back, and then the upper back, back of the neck, back of the head, top of the head, whole of the face. Slide down, open and relax the chin. Slide down, open and relax the throat. Slide down, open and relax the chest. And then go down to the breath. Again think, I am positive, I am calm as you breathe in and then breathe out. Once you feel ready, so rub your palms together, massaging the top of the head. And repeat in your mind, so I am positive. We are going to touch all the body, all the way to the toes. I am calm. To the chest, so I am positive. To the back, I am calm. And then all the way to the toes, so I am positive. And then I am calm. So now we'll do a body toning. So you just tap your body like this from the top and then under. And then top and then under. To the chest and then in the back. And then go all the way to the toes. So we'll repeat it one more time. So most of us has to sit long hours. So this is a very simple idea to energize. If you can do it every hour or 2 times a day. And then go all the way to the toes and then ease the body, taking a moment. And then again rubbing the palms and then pass it to top of the head. So bring them down and then repeat in silence. So I am positive, I am calm. And then I am positive, I am calm, all the way to the toes. And then make eye contact to the ground for a moment. Feel the difference, how you feel in your mind and then your body, your breath, how it's changed with a simple practice, just by consciousness, awareness into what's happening within us. And then take a deep breath. So one more time, rub your palms. And then we'll do the affirmation. So you repeat. So I am master of my mind and I am master of my body. I am master of my mind and I am master of my body. And then one more time, I am master of my mind. I am master of my body. So ease up, again make eye contact to the ground and then slowly you can open your eyes and then come back to the self. Back to Dinesh.
Thank you so much, Sachin. Um, that really feels very calm and very peaceful. So thanks again. Now I have Dr. Doug Walton, who is an organizational change consultant with over 30 years experience. He is a co-founder of the Institute of Conscious Dialogue, along with Mia and me. And he's author of several books, most notably the recent generating change which is practical and scientific. Doug is passionate about empowering people to consciously change their world for the better. He's an innovator in approaches for accelerated and sustained change and development. He is extensively knowledgeable on the organizational change methods and the practices and a very scientific based applications. I have invited Dr. Doug Walton to come work with me in India, and we did some work in Larson and Toubro as well. So Doug is a good friend, and here is Doug Walton.
Okay, thank you, Dinesh, for that wonderful introduction. You know, it's been quite a long journey. It was quite a long journey to get to yoga. I was born in Ohio in the beginning around 1960, prior to the hippie generation. So it was a long ways culturally and ideologically from Eastern religion or the practice of it. We were Protestants at that time there. We went to church on Sundays. And I was always a very analytical and kind of curious child, always into learning and self-development. Maybe I was born with it, or perhaps it was due to my parents. My father was a strong adherent of common sense and rationality, although frequently skeptical also about new things. My mother was always into learning and open to new things. And in those days, you know, we went to Sunday school regularly. I wasn't super happy about it. But I went along with it. In those days, I believed in, you know, the church, Christmas, the tooth fairy, and things like that, although I had nagging doubts. But one morning, I was laying on the floor. I used to like to read in those days, we had printed color comics. You may remember them. I would spread them out and go through them from end to end. And there was one there called The Family Circus. And in it, they showed a mother and father in the middle of the night putting money under the child's pillow for a lost tooth. And I had a realization in that moment that people might be telling you things that were not necessarily the case. So it began a kind of long journey of intellectually searching. Fortunately, I questioned everything about religion, about Christianity. I began reading the Yoga Sutras, Upanishads, the Book of Mormon, the Quran, all of them. And fortunately, my mother, rather than trying to squash this insurrection, engaged in many, many hours of discussion about it over the years. And so we, for a long time, went through them. And I also was in Japanese karate for many, many years and introduced to the concepts of Zen Buddhism and its ethical values and meditation. And I think there, both I was drawn rationally to Patanjali and the Upanishads, and I was also drawn to the idea of focusing your mind and developing some kind of focus and control over your thoughts and refining your thinking. But around my early 30s, I started thinking that there needed to be more to it, that I was more interested in. I was originally interested in martial arts for self-defense, but I became more interested in it for spiritual development. And I thought, well, this is probably not going far enough. So I started looking around, and probably I would have been inclined to go with a Zen meditation, but there wasn't one close by. So I settled down and realized that yoga provided many of the same potentially benefits as Zen meditation. So I joined I started going to the Ananda Church in Palo Alto, which was an offshoot of Paramhansa Yogananda's Self-Realization Fellowship. So I read all of Yogananda's books and others by Babaji and the various gurus in that lineage, and learned that yoga was much more than asanas or the forms. It was also meditation and service, which Kriya Yoga is mainly focused on kind of what is sometimes called a Kundalini Yoga, but a lot on meditation and living in harmony and community with others. While circumstances caused me to lose touch with the Ananda Church, I got married in 1996, and my wife was a former Mormon, and we both had an interest in exploring spirituality together. So to show her Kriya Yoga, we went to a talk by Paramhansa Hariharananda, a direct disciple of Yogananda, at a talk in San Francisco. And she was very interested in it, and so we followed up with a workshop in Petaluma. And we were both technical writers at the time, and we offered to help them publish their monthly journal. And the Swamis would travel around the world giving lectures and send us faxes and emails, even in the middle of the night, and wanting to call us from Germany or wherever they were. And we put together their publications for them and really developed a kind of, we had not met most of them, and we developed a kind of relationship with them. And as a result, sometime after that, Swami Pragananda, now Paramhansa Pragananda, and the leader of Kriya Yoga International, he came to our house in Campbell and spent the night, and then in the morning held a Kriya initiation ceremony in our home, where my wife and I were both initiated together. It was really a quite special moment, both for our marriage and also just to be together and to just have that the honor of having the Swamis stay with us and really talk to us at our house. So we went then to their main ashram in Florida, outside of Miami. And I particularly remember there one thing which really brought it together for me, that Paramhansa Hariharananda said that spirituality is self-transformation. And for some reason in that moment when he defined it that way, I just kind of brought it all together for me. So since that time, I've really kind of stopped at least the rational searching. I began to realize that even though I'd rationally sorted through all kinds of religious, spiritual traditions and tried to logically analyze them, that it came down more to a spirituality as a personal journey. And it's really about the experience and not finding the correct explanation, but learning for yourself, learning, through your inner voice, how it works. And that it really is self-transformation, as Paramhansa Hariharananda had said. So in summing it up, I think there is a spiritual truth, but no one can tell you what your spiritual truth is. You just have to find it yourself through self-reflection and experience. So that's kind of how I got to Kriya Yoga. Since then, it's been, 20 years. But I thought it might be interesting just to think about that for where we start from as a trying to, find answers to finding answers internally versus finding answers outside. So with that, Dinesh.
Thank you. That's a beautiful personal story and a beautiful summary. Thanks. I know your mom is also online, so welcome you, Jan, and we appreciate your presence here. Now we have Dr. Prasad Kaipa, who has been an author, leadership coach, advisor, researcher. Amidst changing roles, the only constant in his life has been a desire to with deeper into his essence and sensibility. This essence has been shaped by other roles he has played, like those of a father, brother, and husband. Prasad strives to bring Indian Vedantic wisdom into management theory and practice. So Prasad and I have also co-facilitated workshops, transformation leadership workshops in Dharamshala, and we had the beautiful blessings of Chinmaya mission there. And we always used to take our participants to meet Swamiji there. Prasad is like brother, and I'm very delighted when we thought about immunity improvement with yoga. First person came to my mind among my friend circle was Prasad. So here is Dr. Prasad Kaipa. While we are waiting for Prasad, Mia, would you like to share your views?
Okay,
about
yes,
what yoga means to you and how you have been practicing it?
Yes, I can do that. Thank you, Dinesh. And yes, I already mentioned that it has been part of my life in many ways since I was about 17. I was a teenager when I began to explore spiritual traditions, and I began to question the traditional religion as I had been taught as a Christian. And so for me, I wanted to expand that idea of spirit and idea of that all paths are equal. And somehow I was very, very drawn to to Indian culture at that time, and yoga. And at that time, yoga wasn't really a mainstream, trendy thing in the Western world. I'm that old, so it was something a bit mystical, and not so many people talked about it. So I just found I explored all kinds of books, and actually I created my own yoga program, asanas and pranayama, breathing and meditation. And actually that program has been with me ever since. I still practice a special, quite short, maybe half an hour asana program with some breathing exercises. But for me, it has combined with a lot of other things that I have explored later on in my life about spirituality. And I'm not so deep into yogic philosophy and the Eastern traditions as they have been taught originally. However, I have come across with I would say the same teachings, but more from the Western esoteric teachings called ancient wisdom teachings, and but they are all founded on that Eastern tradition. So for me, it all comes together. So also Christianity from a more esoteric perspective, where I believe that it is all based on, they all are united. The Eastern, the Western, ancient Egyptian esoteric teachings. I'm very interested in that as well, and have been exploring that. So for me, the essence is actually what I could call union, divine union. So as Dinesh already mentioned, that it's a union of self and divine. And so even if we don't call it yoga, we could call it anything. But the essence is really for me that there is no separation, that when we really unite the body, we unite it with the heart, the mind, the soul, the spirit, then we are practicing yoga, or yoga is a way to unite all these different aspects of self. There are many other ways to do it as well. So there are many names, there are many paths. But for me, yoga gives a way to really come into the body. So really honoring the body, because I'm more maybe coming from the spiritual perspective. So for me, it's important that I combine it with the body, so that the body is sacred as well. The body is divine. And that has been for me a very strong realization over the years, that truly being spiritual or practicing anything related to spirituality is not about going away from the body or going away from the material world. It's more like bringing the spirit down into the material world, into the body, through all the layers of being. And that has been really a huge realization for me. So the journey for me has been more like coming from the higher realms back into the body, and honoring that, honoring the earth, honoring Mother Earth, and all aspects of nature as sacred, as divine. And also the breath, the breathing is for me a way to really bring all these different aspects unified together, just as Sachin so beautifully guided us to unify these different aspects. So, and especially today, in today's world, where we are in a crisis, and on the other hand, this is a huge transformation that has been offered to us to really bring back those higher values, heart values, unity consciousness, shared consciousness into this material world. We cannot escape it. We can't deny it and say, okay, I'm here with my spirit and the world is bad. But we have really have to bring that spirit into each and every aspect of our society and institutions and money, and making money sacred, because that is also a neutral thing. We just have to make it sacred by
Yeah.
loving. Thank you.
I noticed that our brother Prasad is here.
Sure.
And I've already introduced Prasad. All I can say is that there's not enough I can say. The one important thing is that when I thought of improving your immunity with yoga, I said earlier, Prasad, the first person came to mind is you. So here is Brother Prasad, Kaipa.
I really appreciate being with you again. My connection dropped off, so I had to go back and come back. For me, I grew up with yoga. I pretty much was introduced very early, and I went through various asanas and the hatha yoga part of it quite a bit. And the philosophy of yoga was also something that was part of my upbringing, because I spent a lot of time studying Sanskrit and Vedanta, not necessarily knowing that that is what it was, but I grew up around it. Except I'm a guy who lives in my head most of the time. I'm a very intellectual, conceptual, interested in what happens outside much more than what happens inside. So in some respects, I found I created my own schism, and it is much harder for me to really look and stay in my body. So I had to do a lot of practices to stay in my body. Like, for example, there was a time when I was told to swim for 10-20 minutes every day so that I can actually be aware of my body. Why I'm saying that is, knowing about yoga is significantly different than being part of the process of experiencing yoga. So for me, what yoga really means comes down to two parts. One is the intelligence, that is sometimes used the word consciousness, is something that allows us to transcend through a plane in Vedanta called Purusha, the idea of intelligence raising with universality of who we are, what we call a universal consciousness. On the other hand, the body and the matter, like Mia just mentioned, the material plane seems to be our nature. Not only our nature as my individual nature, but the nature which I am part of, the larger nature of universe, the trees, the plants, everything I'm part of. But between these two, there is a schism. So sometimes simply in yoga, it is called the schism between the body and the mind, to put it in a way. So I need to be aware of my body. I need to be conscious of my mind. And how do I bring these two is where the yoga comes into picture. So the consciousness, if it evolves to the highest level, you can call it divine, you can call it universal consciousness. But for some of the people like me, even being conscious of my own thoughts and my own feelings sometimes requires a large amount of awareness at the body level. For me, the Patanjali Yoga Sutras, the Ashtanga Yoga, is based on the Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara, Dhyana, Dharana, and Samadhi. These 8 steps became extremely important to me. And why it is important to me was, the first step before I pay attention to my body, I need to pay attention to the context and the society and the environment in which my body is situated in. And I need to come into alignment with the environment. So that is where the yama niyamas, the idea of following certain disciplines, certain practices, and making a commitment that I will tell the truth to the universe. I will not steal from the universe. I will practice a certain non-violence, both to myself and to the environment around me, are extremely important practices and principles that I need to commit to. When I commit to that, it brings harmony with me being in the environment. That's the first step to start yoga. If I don't start with that alignment with the universe before I align my body, then that becomes very temporal, very short term. Once I am aligned with the environment, then I need to quiet down my body, like Sachin was doing earlier. How do I bring that stillness, that silence as the foundation in which I can discover myself and I can tap into the infinite potential of myself? So first, because the grossest part and the most material of myself is my body, how do I keep it quiet? And keeping it quiet and keeping it silent, keeping it in one posture that allows me to notice the subtle moments of my breath. I think that becomes the most important part of asana. Any asana is about being in equanimous, peaceful state at my body level, and then begin to become aware of my breath, the in-breath, the puraka, the out-breath, the rechaka, and then, as Sachin said, being able to be present to the silence in between. That is the between the puraka and the rechaka, there is a state of kumbhaka. There is a state in which we are full of that life breath, the prana as they call inside, or when we let go of the breath and when we breathe out, again being with that silence of being away from the prana. So these are some things that became extremely important. And how do I do it? Again, if I refer back to what Sachin said, you don't need to make an effort. It has to be effortless. It's a part of just the natural way of aligning and being in harmony, not only with my environment, with also my body, and now with my breath. That aligning with my breath in a way that it is effortless, and I am able to experience the three states of filling in, being with it, filling out, and being without it. If I can get there, then it looks like the third stage begins in, the fourth stage begins, the pratyahara. Can I do this without light? Can I quiet down and be with my breath by being in a slightly darker room without any sounds, without any disturbances that will take my, what you might call as sense organs, gnanendriyas and karmendriyas, to go out and seek its own objects of pleasure from outside? Can I actually withdraw my senses into myself? So that means the attention is not outside at all. It is all completely going inside. Can I begin to pay attention to whatever is happening, not at my sense organ level, but actually in my mind? When I do this, yama, niyama, asana, pranayama, and pratyahara, once these 5 external obstructions are removed, another way of saying is, once I'm in harmony with these external things, the material things, and the what we call not me kind of an environment, then the me begins to play a role. That is where the manas, the meditation, begins to become extraordinarily important. That is when we are mindful, that mindfulness sticks. If we do the mindfulness without necessarily doing the first 5 stages, it is very peaceful in the moment, but sustaining that mindfulness through our life requires us to work with the first 5. And that is where the ability for us to do dhyana, the meditation, or then comes the dharana, to be able to concentrate on a mantra or to concentrate on a prayer to external God, external person, whomever we call in our mind, because in our mind we still think God is somewhere out there, but without recognizing the divine within us. That is the difference between a spiritual and a religious. Either way, both come back to the same thing of aligning the dhyana and dharana. That combination is called samyama. Samyama means, to a certain extent, I am actually aligned with all of those internal and outside of whatever consciousness and awareness that I have. When I do that, I go back to what is called samadhi, sama adi. That means going back to the beginning and being equanimous with it. And at some level, what it means is I'm dropping my identity, I'm dropping my mind, I'm dropping the feeling that I'm separate and the divine is separate, you are separate, environment is separate. I am accepting I am part of all of this consciousness, and I am even letting go of this seed that the consciousness, the individual consciousness. When I drop, there is only quiet ocean of bliss, the ocean of ananda. So for me, yoga is a step-by-step movement from external world into the internal world and dissolving the internal identity so that I become part of the external and internal, one and the other. So the practice for me has been not only remembering and being able to say it, but coming back to whenever I'm disturbed, like, recently I've been doing too many webinars, like almost this week I'm doing 2 a day. So what I'm realizing is whenever I become anxious or whenever I become what you might call helter-skelter, I go back to breath. I go back to bringing all my consciousness into my stomach and below. Sit down, take conscious breath, and then sometimes if I'm not able to quiet down, not able to be with it, then I go back into prayer. I found there is time for meditation and there is time for prayer. Sometimes I'm not able to touch my own spiritual basis, then I need to go back to divine I believe in as a God. So I go back to the external God and then I try to pray saying, please give me tranquility or peace so that I can do the service that I'm supposed to do, or I'm supposed to do the work that I need to do. So that is what my practice of yoga is. Ultimately,
Thank you.
uniting the external and internal. And thank you very much for that.
Thank you so much, Prasad, for this wonderful description and an explanation of what yoga means to you and how you've been practicing it. And now, like you said, it's very important for us to not only know, but also practice. So here is Mia. She's gonna take us through a guided meditation to complete this this hour. And then time permitting, we'll have a few more questions and answers. So Mia.
Thank you, Dinesh. Okay, so let's begin. And so take a comfortable way, however you are sitting or maybe lying down. Just be comfortable and go into your body, bringing awareness inside and into the body. And you can close your eyes if that feels good. Perhaps you can stretch your spine a little bit so that it's easy to breathe all the way down into the belly. Taking a deep breath in and a deep release out. And bringing your awareness into the heart and breathing through the heart. coming into your center, and knowing that you're safe in your own sacred space of light that is holding you gently and bringing your heart and mind, spirit and body into a unified field of presence, being present in this moment to yourself. Then become aware of a tube of light or column of light that runs through your being, connecting you to the light above and to the earth below you. And breathe in the life force from the earth into all over your being, every cell of your body. And send back your love to Mother Earth, who is sustaining our bodies with love. Then breathe in through your crown. Breathe in the light from above you. Open your heart like a flower to receive the light into your being, into every cell of your body. And send back your love to the realms of light. And then bring awareness into the heart again, the heart that is unifying the light and the life force, all energies into your one unified field, bringing you into the center, into your source, inner source of love, light, and power. And breathe from this inner source. And receive whatever it is in this moment that you may need to feel and know your oneness with Source. And release anything that is ready to go now. When breathing in, you may receive the light, and when breathing out, you may release what is ready to go. Receiving and releasing with the breath of life. Then bring back your awareness into the heart and recall what you have learned and discovered in this session so far. What has been meaningful to you? What is it that in this moment is emerging for you from within your heart? And then ask yourself, what is it, that one thing that you could take into practice that will support your greater well-being. Then let us join our hearts and our minds and our light fields together, forming a unified field, a circle of light, bringing all our intentions, all our learnings into the same unified field. And expanding this field and becoming aware of a greater unified field of a higher presence that is holding us all and all life, supporting our greater well-being, sustaining us with love, wisdom, light, power. Breathe from this presence, this greater presence. Breathe in and breathe out. And let us share this energy into the world. May all living beings on earth realize their true nature and perfect health, true nature as beings of light and love and perfect health and well-being. May we co-create our world anew on a foundation of shared resources, peace, and prosperity for all. And then just take a few deep breaths coming back into your body, grounding your presence in this moment, bringing back your insights. And it's time to come back to this session. You may move your body a little bit and maybe stretching your spine. And you may open your eyes when you feel ready.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much, Mia.